Imagine a civilization greater than any the ancient world ever knew. A land of wide plains and shining cities, temples covered in gold and silver, canals filled with ships from a powerful navy, engineers who could shape water, stone, and metal with ease, kings who claimed descent from the gods themselves. This was said to be Atlantis, a paradise of wealth and knowledge. And then, without warning, it vanished. In a single day and night of terrible disaster, the ground shook, the seas rose, floods swallowed the land, and the entire island sank beneath the ocean. Nothing remained but mud, ruins, and memory. For more than 2,400 years, this story has fascinated humanity. Some call it myth, others call it allegory, but many have wondered whether it could be something more, because the details are strange, too detailed, too specific. And now, in the year 2025, new discoveries and new technologies are forcing the world to ask the question once again: was Atlantis real? The story of Atlantis comes from one man, the Greek philosopher Plato. Around 360 BC, Plato wrote two works called Timaeus and Critias. In them, he describes a powerful island civilization that existed long before his own time. Plato did not say he invented the story. He claimed it was history. According to him, the tale came from an Athenian lawmaker named Solon. Solon had traveled to Egypt centuries earlier, where priests told him of a great island empire recorded in their ancient texts. These records, the priests said, were far older than anything the Greeks possessed. They claimed Atlantis existed 9,000 years before Solon's time. That would place it around 9,600 BC. Plato describes Atlantis as an island larger than Libya and Asia Minor combined. It was located in the Atlantic Ocean, beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Today, we know this place as the Strait of Gibraltar. At the heart of Atlantis was its capital city. It was built in a unique design: 3 circular rings of water, 2 rings of land, all connected by bridges and canals. Ships could sail from the open sea straight into the center of the city. At the very center stood the royal palace and the great temple of Poseidon, the god of the sea. The temple was covered in gold, silver, and ivory. The walls of the city were layered with metals, including a mysterious substance Plato called orichalcum, which he said glowed like fire. Beyond the city lay a vast flat plain. It was carefully divided by canals for irrigation. Freshwater and hot springs fed public baths. The land produced food in abundance. Plato even mentions elephants roaming the plains. Atlantis was not just wealthy. It was powerful. It possessed a massive navy. According to Plato, the Atlanteans built more than 1,000 warships. They conquered large parts of Europe and Africa. Eventually, they attempted to dominate Greece. Only ancient Athens, Plato claims, stood against them and won. But victory made Atlantis arrogant. The gods saw this pride as corruption, and so they punished the island. Plato writes that violent earthquakes and floods struck. In one single day and night, Atlantis was swallowed by the sea. After that, the ocean became shallow and muddy. Ships could no longer pass. Atlantis was gone. For centuries, scholars dismissed the story. Some believed Plato created Atlantis as a moral lesson, a warning about pride, power, and the fall of empires. Athens represented virtue. Atlantis represented excess. Others thought Plato combined multiple older myths into one dramatic story. But there was a problem. Plato rarely invented detailed histories, and he insisted this story was true. The level of detail is unusual. The geography, the engineering, the political system, the exact description of destruction. Why would Plato invent such a complex false history? This question has kept the Atlantis debate alive for over 2,000 years. One of the most popular explanations for Atlantis points to the Bronze Age civilization known as the Minoans. The Minoans lived on the island of Crete and nearby islands in the Aegean Sea. Around 1600 BC, they were one of the most advanced cultures in the world. They built large palace complexes with plumbing systems, drainage, and paved roads. Their cities were colorful, filled with art showing sea life, nature, and religious rituals. The Minoans were a naval power. They relied on ships for trade and defense. Their cities had few walls, suggesting confidence in their control of the sea. Nearby was the volcanic island of Thera, known today as Santorini. Around 1600 BC, Thera erupted in one of the largest volcanic explosions in human history. The blast was several times stronger than Krakatoa. The center of the island collapsed into the sea, forming a massive circular caldera. Ash fell across the region. Tsunamis hundreds of feet high slammed into Crete. Harbors were destroyed. Ships were wrecked. Fields were buried. On Thera itself, archaeologists uncovered the city of Akrotiri. It was buried under volcanic ash, preserving multi-story buildings, art, and streets. There were no human remains, suggesting people escaped before the eruption. Within a few generations, Minoan power collapsed. They were later overtaken by the Mycenaean Greeks. Supporters of this theory believe stories of the eruption were passed down orally for centuries. Over time, dates were exaggerated. Locations shifted. What began as a Bronze Age disaster became an ancient legend. The circular shape of Santorini resembles Plato's rings. The Minoans were wealthy, advanced, and sea-based. They were destroyed by earthquakes, fire, and floods. But the timeline does not match Plato's 9600 BC date. This remains a major weakness of the theory. Another theory points far away from the sea, deep into the Sahara Desert. In Mauritania lies the Rikhat structure, also called the Eye of the Sahara. It is a massive formation made of concentric rings, over 40 kilometers wide. From space, it looks remarkably like Plato's description of Atlantis' capital. Today, the region is dry desert. But thousands of years ago, during the African humid period, it was green and full of life. Rivers flowed through the area. Lakes existed where sand now dominates. Animals and humans lived there. Some researchers believe the rings were once surrounded by water. They point to ancient river channels and flood deposits. Others suggest the area may have experienced catastrophic flooding as the Ice Age ended. However, geologists classify the Rikhat structure as a natural formation, an eroded dome created over millions of years. No ruins of cities have been found. No advanced tools. Only scattered Stone Age artifacts. Despite new satellite data in 2025, most scientists remain unconvinced. The resemblance, they say, is coincidence. In 2025, the Atlantis debate entered a new phase. An American researcher named Michael Donnellan announced discoveries off the coast of Cádiz, Spain. Cádiz sits near the Strait of Gibraltar, exactly where Plato placed Atlantis. Using advanced sonar, satellite imagery, and underwater exploration, Donnellan's team identified large submerged structures on the ocean floor. They reported 3 massive circular walls carved into the seabed, canals between them, flat platforms, sharp angles, blocks of stone that appear displaced by force. Some walls rise over 20 feet high and stretch for miles. At the center lies a large rectangular structure aligned north to south. Donnellan believes these features are man-made. He connects their submersion to the end of the last ice age, around 11,600 years ago. At that time, sea levels rose rapidly as glaciers melted. Massive floods and tsunamis may have occurred. In 2025, his documentary series gained global attention. Conferences debated the findings. Some praised the work. Others urged caution. Critics argue that natural formations can appear artificial. They also note the lack of peer-reviewed excavation. Still, the location, scale, and layout have renewed serious discussion. For the first time in decades, Atlantis is no longer a fringe topic. Atlantis does not stand alone. At the end of the Ice Age, sea levels rose by more than 400 feet. Vast coastal lands were drowned. Doggerland, once connecting Britain to Europe, disappeared beneath the North Sea. Early humans lived there for thousands of years. Off the coast of Australia, submerged plains contain stone tools from ancient populations. In the Black Sea, evidence suggests sudden flooding that may have inspired flood myths. Even sites like Göbekli Tepe show that advanced construction existed far earlier than once believed. Human history may be missing entire chapters. Civilizations could have existed along ancient coastlines now lost beneath the ocean. Perhaps Atlantis was not one place. Perhaps it was many memories combined. A Minoan eruption, Ice Age floods, lost coastal cultures, oral traditions stretched across millennia. Plato may have shaped these stories into a single powerful narrative. Or perhaps there truly was an advanced Atlantic culture whose ruins now lie underwater, waiting to be studied properly. In 2025, new technology is finally allowing us to look where we never could before. The ocean floor is no longer unreachable. We may never find a stone that reads, Atlantis. We may never hold orichalcum in our hands. But the question has changed. Atlantis is no longer just a myth. It is a possibility. A reminder that human history is fragile. That oceans rise. That civilizations fall. That knowledge can be lost. The sea keeps its secrets well. But not forever. And as exploration continues, one truth becomes clear. The past is deeper than we imagined. What waits beneath the waves? And what will we discover next?